Hey, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my little studio space. Today I'm going to show you how to make this denim jacket. I am a designer, so I feel like I'm qualified to teach you how to make this. I've seen some YouTube videos where people are like hot gluing their clothes together and it really stresses me out. So yeah, let's get into it. Here's the cutter's must. These are the pieces that you'll need, and you'll need 2 yards of denim. First, we're going to overlock the edges of the pocket, just like that. Alright, now you're going to overlock the edges of the pocket facing. This is my intern. Her name is Gata. She's amazing. She's also my YouTube manager, and she's also a part-time magician, so kind of cool. Okay, so now you're going to take your pocket flaps and sew at 1/4 inch seam allowance all around. Make sure you have the right sides facing together like this. So these are my pocket flaps. Go ahead and trim the corners, trim the edges. This will help reduce bulk when you flip it inside out. Now go ahead and press the pocket flap. Okay, so now you're going to do 2 rows of top stitching. Take your pocket facing and sew 1/4 inch all around that edge. Go ahead and clip the corners. Press up, and then you're going to flip it inside out and press it again. Edge stitch the opening. Alright, so now place your pocket bag on top. And I usually draw a chalk line to help it be neat, and then top stitch. So now with the pocket flap, you're going to tack it down at 1/4 inch. Alright, so place the top front over the bottom front and sew. Now go ahead and overlock this. Alright, after you've done that, you can press the seam allowance up, and pressing is just super essential, like don't skip. Okay, so now we're going to work on the welt pocket. So mark the pocket placement with chalk dots according to your pattern. And now you're going to do a chalk outline on the body. So this is 3/4 inch wide and 6.5 inches long. Now you're going to take your welt pocket facing, and you're going to overlock the edge, just one edge. This piece will be the actual welt that you'll see in the front. So press, fold it and press it. And I just marked another 3/4 inch away, and I'm placing the pocket facing and the welt pocket on those guidelines. Okay, make sure that they're exactly on the guidelines. Now you're going to place the pocket lining underneath. Pin it in place, kind of smooth it out, make sure it's not wrinkled or anything. And honestly, first time you sew a welt pocket, like do it on a little sample, not on your final garment, because it can be kind of easy to mess up. Okay, so now sew on these lines exactly point to point and back tack. This is like the most important part. So now you're going to cut the pocket open through all the layers. So through the denim and through the white pocket lining. So start by cutting through the center and then cutting those little triangles. And be really careful and precise with this step, because if you mess it up, it's like you just ruin the pocket. So just be careful. Take your time. Flip it and press. So you're going to slip stitch the pocket closed. This is really important to keep the pocket in place. Okay, so the step that I forgot to mention after this is that you're going to put the denim facing right on top of the white pocket lining, and then you're going to edge stitch like this. So from the center top down all the way down to the side to the other center. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so now you're going to sew the facing to the lining, just right in the white overlock edge, but don't sew it to the body. Now have the pieces open and you're going to edge stitch the other side of the pocket, the middle center down, back to the middle center. So it should look something like this. And you see how there's the white pocket lining, the denim facing, just all clean. So now you're going to trim the edges and you're going to sew 1/4 inch seam allowance all around the pocket bag. Overlock, make sure not to catch the body of your fabric, so take your time. Just be careful. Smooth the pocket bag and tack down 1/4 inch. Now we're going to work on the placket. Flip the body over and we're going to work on the little overlap sticking out. So you're going to sew 1/2 inch from that point, 1/2 inch seam allowance, and you're going to trim. So now you're going to flip that corner inside out and use a little wooden tool to kind of make sure the corner is sharp. Now we are going to, now we're going to fold the placket. I have it 1.5 inches folded over. That's the width. And after you do this, press it, give it a good press. Pressing is so essential, like I cannot express it enough. So don't skip the pressing. Now you're going to edge stitch a rectangle. Okay, now we're going to work on the back. So take the side back pieces and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And as you might have guessed, the next step is to overlock the seams. Having a clean finish on the inside of the jacket is just really important. Garments should look just as beautiful on the inside as the outside. Okay, so now you're going to press the seams down and make sure you are careful with the direction of the seam allowance. Now you're going to do 2 rows of top stitching 1/4 inch away from each other. Now you have the back yoke and place it over the back body and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Go ahead and overlock it once again. Press the seam allowance up and sew 2 rows of top stitching. maybe you're getting the gist of it. It's not too bad. Like once you know kind of like the steps, it's just really about sewing. It's just about following things step by step. Okay, so sleeves. You're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance up until that point. So I also overlocked it. So now you're going to fold the placket. The placket is a little tricky for people doing it for the first time. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate how I did it on paper because I feel like it might be a bit easier to see. So the top will be folded over the back sleeve. But it should just lay really smoothly. It should lay like right on top of the other seam, like exactly. And now you're going to do 2 rows of top stitching. This is what the placket should look like. So it lays really straight, and do a zigzag stitch for reinforcement. I did 2 zigzag stitches just for aesthetic. Okay, so now you're going to take the back and place the fronts right side to right side, and you're going to sew the shoulders at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Go ahead and overlock the shoulders. Now you're going to press the seam allowance towards the back. Press it well and do 2 rows of top stitching. Okay, so it's starting to look like a jacket. Take your sleeve and we're going to attach the sleeve to the body. As you can see, I haven't sewn the side seams yet. Okay, so now you're going to pin the sleeve onto the body. And another crucial thing is making sure those 2 seams match. So now you're going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. After you've done that, you can go ahead and overlock. So see how like it looks really good when the seam matches? Details are important. I'm just putting that out there. All right, so go ahead and overlock the sleeve cap. After you've done that, you're going to press the seam allowance towards the body of the jacket. So kind of take your time while doing this. Give it some steam. Make sure there's no, wrinkles, puckering. Just take your time. And now you're going to do 2 rows of top stitching 1/4 inch away from each other. All right, so I've sewn the sleeves to the body, and now we're going to work on the side seams and sew the rest of the sleeve all in one. So first I start by matching the underarm seams. It's important. Make sure the seams match. Okay, and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, go ahead and overlock that whole thing. Now we're going to work on the collar. So you're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. You're going to fold the cuffs right sides to right side, and you're going to sew 1/2 inch on the sides. You're going to repeat the same step with the waistband. Fold it up in half and sew 1/2 inch on the two edges. I don't know why, but I really don't like sewing cuffs and waistband. They like kind of annoy me, but they do look good, so you know. All right, so pro tip, you're gonna sew a 1/2 inch guideline on one edge of the cuffs and collar and waistband. Next step is to trim the corners to reduce bulk. Flip inside out, and you're going to press on that guideline that you sewed. So this makes sure the fold consistent and you don't have to like remeasure it. So that's just a little pro tip from me. Okay, so pin the collar and sew it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you can notice there's that little bit of overlap on the edges. Press again, and you will fold that little piece, that little 1/2 inch, and match it to the 1/2 inch. All right, so edge stitch all around. Looking good. All right, so you're gonna follow the same exact steps with the waistband and the cuffs. So pin everything in place. You can baste it if you're feeling extra careful, you know, it just depends on how confident you're feeling that day. Yeah, so I basted it, and then after you baste it, you're gonna sew. So yeah, the basting just helps it stay in place before top stitching. It's just, I just recommend it. And take your time. Hey, okay, so I'm going on my way to Botani, or maybe even Star Snap, to get buttons done, and then to Jonathan's to get the buttonholes done for my denim jacket. So I'm gonna take you along, show you all of that. So yeah. And also I'm like kind of hiding because like it's really weird to be like vlogging in public in New York. So yeah. I'm gonna try kombucha for the first time. I know I'm late on the trend. Let's see.
It ain't nothing to me, yeah. Young Tom Hardy with the movies, act out smoothly, Mickey for the goofies. Pokemon with the hoes cause I'm choosy, saying she a foodie, thinking she uni. And she always stressing about uni, think it's my duty to go and get faded with my goonies. Down shots like Lil Uzi. I done had 4 long nights this week, trying to stack my kills, my kills, my kills. Hit up my spot, gon' chill every week, give me my bills, my bills, my bills. I spit gold too much, might as well make myself some grills, some grills, some grills. Hitting these goals too much, pour some beer to the brim, my spill, my spill, my spill. I've been out way too long, wonder when I'm gon' fool me. Eyes too sus, no trust. Talking about love, you ain't talking about us. You be thinking you rush, trying to do it yourself. I don't give a fuck, fine, do yourself. Talking that 100 bands running, man. I just wanna get the bag. I don't lag, I don't drag. I just do the fucking dash. I just want the fucking cash. I just want fucking smash. I don't draw the ball across lines like a running back. Got them all running back. I said this before, I don't fucking lack. Thinking this lotto max, yo.
Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, liked it, are gonna try it. You're gonna make a jacket, make me proud. If you don't, I mean, I guess it's okay, but like, I put a lot of effort into this, okay? So please make a jacket. Yeah. Until next time, bye.